What's up, YouTube? This is Rich with Lifetime Shred, and today we're talking about the holidays. So it's early December right now, and as I'm sure you're aware, most of you probably aren't wakeboarding right now, at least if you're in the United States, unless you're down in Florida or maybe Texas. But definitely out here in Utah, where it's snowboard season full bloom, doesn't mean our mind's not on wakeboarding. So let's get into it. The holidays. You got a friend, a sibling, a significant other, someone that wakeboards, and you don't know what to get them. There's so much stuff you can get them. I'm going to go through some of the items that I think are really great gifts for Christmas, and then maybe some caveats of some that you might want to be a little weary around. So let's get into the first category, the wakeboard gear. This one's probably the most obvious. Every wakeboarder needs a board, some bindings, some board shorts, maybe a handle if they ride boat. And while these items might seem like obvious gifts, I do say be cautious here, especially with boards and bindings. A lot of riders, unless they're like very beginner, tend to like very specific items. Maybe it's the characteristics of the board, how it looks, the brand, or whatever. You could definitely buy them a wakeboard, but it might not be the right one for them. Maybe if they've asked for one on like a Christmas list or something like that, I think that's a safe bet for a gift. But overall, these are pretty expensive gifts, and yeah, they can be returned after Christmas. But overall, I'm going to say maybe a gift to avoid unless you know exactly what that person wants. Along the lines of fundamental wakeboard gear, another item would be like a vest. I think this one's a little safer, especially if the riders in like kind of an older style, cheaper CGA style vest. Maybe they're looking to upgrade to one of the newer CGA vests or something else. Again, it might come down to them actually talking to you or maybe having a Christmas list of some kind. Another item that would fall under like fundamental wake gear that could be a good gift if they're a boat rider is a new handle or a line. So wakeboard handles do wear out. Again, you got to be a little bit careful here because people do have preferences of brand, the material on the bar of the handle, if it has a T handle or not. But, if they have one right now that they tend to like and it's looking a little worn, maybe just getting them that same handle, but a newer version of it might be a pretty safe bet. If you don't know which handle to get them, maybe ask their friends. With wakeboard lines, they do wear out just like other items. Definitely if their line's looking frayed, might be a good idea as a gift to get them, a similar line. But I would also say we're seeing more and more wakeboard lines with more segments lately. And the reason being is people like to ride all sorts of different lengths. There's been a big movement towards slower riding for learning new tricks. And there's still riders that want to ride 75, 80 feet or so. So, newer ropes, like say the newer Bronix lines do go down pretty short, and that might make a great upgrade for a rider who's looking to maybe try out some of that shorter riding progression that they've heard about. Getting into the next category, it's going to be all about staying warm. So, a lot of the country, even in Florida, it does get kind of cold. I'm here in Utah. We usually ride till about the end of October. By the end of the season, the water's about 50 degrees and the air is about 50 as well. And when you're out there in those temps, you can't just wear board shorts. I mean, you could, but you'd be really cold. I think the most obvious gift here would just be like a normal full-size wetsuit. I'd say like a 3.2 or 4.3 would probably be ideal. But that is a significant cost of a gift. A typical wetsuit's going to be at least $200. But there's a lot of other neoprene that you can wear, between just wearing board shorts and going to a full-size wetsuit. And some of these are a little bit cheaper, which might make great gifts. One of these I would talk about is like a neo top. Neotops, I'm kind of seeing like two types these days. They're the traditional ones that are tighter fitting. These are probably the most functional. There's a front zip as well as a side zip version. These are back zip. But we're also starting to see these newer neoprene hoodie tops. This is what I like to wear. It's a little bit looser. I just like how it looks. And underneath the vest, it's still pretty warm. So, either of those items might be a great gift in like that $100, $150 range. Some cheaper items that might be useful to stay warm would be a neoprene beanie. These are actually really popular in kiteboarding, but you don't see them as much in wakeboarding. But I believe O'Neill and Mystic and a few other companies do make these. I actually think they're amazing. Like I really feel like it makes the water feel about 5 degrees warmer throwing that beanie on, keeping that core heat from escaping from the top of your head. And they're not that expensive. You should be able to pick one of these up for like 25, 35 bucks, something like that. It'd be probably something that most wakeboarders don't have as well. And useful on the boat as well as the cable. Another item that you could get to stay warm that's a great gift that's not super expensive are some neoprene shorts. So like for me, I try to avoid the full-size wetsuit for as much of the season as possible. It's just a pain getting it on and off, and I hate it at the cable park because it always gets filled with water around the legs. So in order to stay warm, short of wearing my normal summer clothing, Another category for gifts that you might be interested in is items to help people dry off. A lot of wakeboarders have kind of, maybe an old towel or something, an old sweat pool towel that they use, and that's fine. But towels do wear out. They do get super stinky sometimes too. Tip on that, wash with vinegar. A friend told me about that, works really well. But getting into towel tech, there's actually been some really cool towels coming out in recent years. There's these new like super thin towels that are really packable. So if you don't have a lot of room in your bag, say if you're out on the boat or at the cable park, uh, these are really thin and they still dry you off. So that might be something that'd be a great gift and not too expensive. Another thing that I like a lot is a changing poncho. So these were originally made for surfers to change their wetsuit at the beach. I find them super useful on the boat and at the cable park, especially if it's not really a good place to change. One of these changing ponchos, you can get in and out of your gear, get dry. It's really easy. They're also just like giant towels. Like I don't even bring a towel to the cable park or the boat. I just use my changing poncho as my towel as well as a way to change in public. Another item for drying off that you might not have thought about is a boot dryer. So a boot dryer like this is a really good idea if you live somewhere where your boots aren't going to get dried out or if you're traveling. So every time I go on a cable trip, I always bring my boot dryer. And every time I get home from the lake with my board, the boot dryers go in. And the reason is if you don't do this, even in a dry state like Utah, your boots sitting around wet in the heat, they get stinky and they're going to wear out more. So keep your boots dry. It'll keep you happy. Getting into another category, sun protection. Wakeboarders, we need sunblock. I think that's a great like stocking stuffer type gift. Depending what sunblock you like, you could see what they're using right now. I personally love some of the natural sunblocks. The J Tree Life sunblocks are my go-to. I think for a natural sunblock, they work the best. Some other items like a good sun hat. If you're going to be out on the boat all day, or you're at a cable park that doesn't have like some kind of shaded overhang, you're going to have to get out of the sun somehow. So a sun hat. So a good like sun shirt or even like a sun shirt hoodie of some kind, I think is another great gift. A hoodie like this, it could be used underneath or over a life vest at the cable park to keep the sun off of you. It could be used when you're chilling in the boat. You could use it riding on the boat. It's got a lot of different uses. They dry quick. Another sun item, sunglasses. Hopefully, your rider already has a pair of sunglasses. Maybe they don't need this, but it doesn't hurt to have a pair, maybe even a pair that's polarized. I would definitely make sure that whatever sunglasses they're wearing actually block sun rays. Some of the really cheap sunglasses out there don't really do a good job of that. And you do need to be weary of that because if you're on a boat or on the cable all day, you're getting a lot of exposure and you're getting not only the sun coming down from the sky, but also glaring off the water. So you want to protect your eyes whenever possible. So a good polarized pair of sunglasses would make an amazing gift for any wakeboarder. Getting into another category, travel. When you travel with a wakeboard, as you can imagine, you probably need a bag. So a board bag. And there's a couple kinds of board bags, which I think vary depending on what kind of travel you're doing. If you're going to an airplane, I would definitely get a wheeled bag. This can be a pretty big investment though, but there's also board bags that are better for local travel. So one that one of my friends uses a lot is like a sleeve that goes around the edges of the board. And basically it protects the edges of the board and then just gives him a shoulder strap to carry his board. He likes that a lot, especially if your board's in and out of people's cars a lot. And then the other kind of bag that might be useful for travel, whether it's local or further away, that I like a lot is like a diving bag. So diving bags are partially mesh. So Liquid Force makes the one I use. I've had mine for I don't even know how many years, like 6, 7 years. It's actually starting to wear out, so I think I need a new one. So that's on my Christmas list is one of these bags. But I like the mesh bags a lot. They've got a lot of room in them, but also being mesh, if their gear's sitting around, it just has a little bit more chance of drying out than if it's in like a fully enclosed duffel bag or backpack or something like that. Getting into another category, this is kind of a miscellaneous / accessories category. Some of these items are going to be a little bit on the cheaper side, which is nice. I would say every wakeboarder needs like a tool of some kind. A snowboard tool I think would be really appropriate here. You just want to make sure it's something with a number 3 Phillips head screwdriver in it. Speaking of wakeboard screws, it never hurts to have an extra set of binding hardware. So I've been to the cable, I've been traveling, and I've lost a screw. Like something comes loose, the binding spins on like a crash, and that thing's sinking to the bottom of the lake immediately. So I always travel with an extra set of binding hardware just in case. So if your rider is traveling, I mean, even on the boat, like just having some extra hardware, you know, you just want to look to see what brand bindings they have, because binding hardware is specific to the brand, often maybe even to the model within the brand. So you're going to want to confirm that with wherever you're getting it from, that you got the right stuff. Kind of getting towards the end here. Another item you could pick up for your person is just some like wakeboard clothing. Like, you know, look to see what gear they have, what wakeboard do they have, what brand bindings do they have, what brand vests do they have. All of these are going to be indicators of brands they might be stoked on. Get them a t-shirt, get them a hoodie, get them a hat. I don't think you're going to go wrong on that. And then last but not least is gift certificates. So can't make up your mind, you don't know what to get them, you can always get them a gift certificate to their favorite store. You know, there's lots of great online retailers as well as local retailers. And then the other thing I would say too is gift certificates to your local cable park. These might even be better than the retailers, because you want to get your person out there riding, right? Like they want to ride as much as they can. So if you do have a cable park in the area, most cable parks sell gift certificates. Oftentimes you can get even a discount off the normal rates with that during the holiday. And with that, I'll wrap it up. This is Rich with Lifetime Shred, wishing you a happy holiday. Hopefully that was useful in helping select a gift for your wakeboarder out there. But anyway, happy holidays, and I'll catch you later. Peace.